Hey, you know what we're going to do today, Max? We're talking about this coffee stuff. Actually, no. I'll tell you what, even before I even raise this, put that away. That's a teaser. Before I even do that, tell me how good I look. Tell me I look younger. I've shaved my beard-ish.
You do look a bit younger. You also look very, 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 very close.
I like to be up close and personal, as they say. I can move it back a little bit.
I'm gonna
I think how does
social distancing.
Is that any better? Social distancing. Now I have to refocus. Battery on my phone. What?
You have to refocus because you actually blocked your your focus, didn't you?
I look. I don't really know what I'm doing. Let's not talk about it because people might realize that I don't know what I'm doing with this. I push buttons and hopefully it all works.
It's okay. We're total amateurs anyway, so it doesn't matter. Really.
That's right. You're a total amateur. But I'm here to save you, Max.
Thank you. For example, my microphone is taller than me at this moment, and I don't know what
microphone. And what you would understand is that people listening is that the microphone is not a big microphone.
No, I'm confused now. I'm very confused.
Yeah. How did that happen? Did you get smaller? Did you get smaller since last week? I think you might have shrunk.
The thing is, it's a seat-standing desk, but it doesn't have positions unless you turn on the app on the phone.
Oh man, this is already way too complicated for me. You have a phone that controls your desk.
I have a phone that controls my desk, that controls my life, basically. Wow. And it tells me, "No, stand up. You should stand up. It's time to stand up now."
It's one of those things where it beeps and tells you to stand up. Yeah.
I don't know if it beeps, but I am extremely good at ignoring it.
Yeah, you blank it out after a while. I can't wait to hack it. I'm going to hack it. Now that I know it's there, I just need to work out your Wi-Fi password. Get in.
You shall never know that the password is 1, 2,
3. 1, 2, 3. Like everybody else's. Listen, hey, we got an important episode because, as you know, these podcasts are all about me.
Yes.
And so what we're going to do over the next few weeks, months, probably not months, weeks, is we're going to go through the journey. A journey. I love calling things a journey. It makes it sound so much more exciting than we're just going to talk a lot. We're going to go through a journey on how on choosing a new espresso machine for me. Yeah,
for you.
Well, obviously not for you, Max. I'm not buying you an espresso machine. You got like 4 already. You don't need another one.
I do not.
Only because you keep selling them all. But you had that huge Gaggia 3 group. I would have just put that in the kitchen and be done with it. Was it a 2 group?
I did consider it, but then there was someone that suggested that I might lose the use of my legs.
Are you saying that your wife had something to do with that decision?
Yeah, it was one of those things, But also when I
noticed how you weren't brave enough just to come out and say it loudly in case she heard you.
Yeah. It's one of those things. I brought also the other big coffee machine and brought it in, put it on the counter. That's not staying there, is it? That's right. That's right. And your default answer is, of course, to say, no. I'm testing it and then I'm selling it. I'm just going to refurbish it and sell it. How long do you have that for? It's like a year. Yeah. So what we're going to do, we're going to take me through a journey. We're going to take me through a journey, but this is going to benefit the listeners, our beloved fanatic audience. Give it away for free. No, we're not. I'm keeping it. Of course you are. What? Give what away for free? I remember you clearly saying that. Don't look. I'm going to edit all that out. In fact, what I'll have is, no, I won't. Okay. So listen, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some different brands because we're going to go through. Yes. We're going to go through brand by brand and look at their product lines and just talk about them a little bit because obviously there's some, and I'm going to look at all the major brands, even the ones that I didn't think I would like because, hey, surprise, actually, as I look at them in detail, there's more than meets the eye. Mm-hmm. So we're going to do that. And we're going to start with Breville, which is known as Sage in the, the land of hope and glory. That's the United Kingdom, Britain, by the way.
So we're going to talk about sage today. And then next week, we're going to talk about another one, something else. And eventually I will either get desperate and just buy something.
Probably before.
In fact, by the end of this podcast, I may have just gone onto Amazon or whatever it is and bought something.
Yeah. So, we talked about, Bizzera, Gaggia, and Breville. Yeah, I got a La Cimbali.
Yeah, I got a La Cimbali. I wouldn't mind a La Cimbali, although the shop next door to mine
I
had a La
probably would
Cimbali
mind,
and they broke
not,
all the time.
Well, to be honest, I've seen some inside that they're not bad at all. They're very, very sturdy. The only thing is that they're eye-watering expensive.
Well, they're expensive. They look nice. That's the important thing.
They look the part, but if you want to spend that amount of money, if you're prepared to spend that amount of money, there is so much choice of machines. Even
there is.
And let's not go there.
So let's define, right? Let's start off professional like in it.
Yes.
And Americans don't have the word in it. They don't understand. You say in it, which means isn't it, by the way, world. I say Americans because I lived in America. And when I said in it, they just looked at me blankly. But they also look at me blankly in most places. So maybe that's not a good metric. But in it.
In what?
In it, pal.
Yeah, but in what? It what?
No, don't. There is no. It's not in anything. That's the point. Isn't it? Isn't it?
It's
so
not.
We're going to start with a good scope, isn't it?
So it's outside. So it's outside.
It's not inside.
Yeah. So if it's not in, it's out.
It's metaphorically everywhere.
Okay.
All right. It's in and out because it's quantum.
So then you know how fast it goes.
Well, you only know how fast it goes if you're measuring the counterparticle.
Yes.
Anyway, thanks for losing the rest of our audience. What I'd really like is I'd love a fanatic audience. I think somehow we have to generate a cult from this. I'd always wanted to be a cult leader. We have to work a little bit harder on the whole cult thing. We have to brainwash people somehow. Yeah. So we're going to define the scope, and the scope is this is what I want. This is what I want. But I actually don't think this exists.
That's curious because I was doodling things. So go ahead.
You don't doodle on our podcast, Max. I doodle. Pay attention.
Outside.
So I'm not interested in steaming milk. I don't mind if it has the capacity to steam milk, but it can take 30 minutes to get up to pressure or whatever. I don't really care. What I really want is I want a machine for making very, very good espresso. Okay, that's it. That's all I want. I don't care about the hot water tappy thing that disperses hot water. I don't care about even a cup warmer on the top. I don't care about a steam wand. But what I care about is making good espresso. And in order to make that good espresso, I really want to be able to have very good thermal stability. I want to be able to set the temperature. I want to be able to do pre-infusion, and ideally I'd like to be able to do some flow profiling, and I could have all that in a single boiler machine, and I don't think one exists.
Have you been looking at my notebook?
Yes, I have been looking at your notebook. When you're sleeping, I creep in through the bedroom. If you left if you didn't leave the kitchen window open, I wouldn't be able to get in and look at your notebook, but you did. Right. It's your own fault, Max. You've only got yourself to blame. So that's
Remind me to carve out your eyeballs then.
Well, are you secretly going to design an espresso machine? Have I just let the cat out the bag?
I am going through ideas and concepts to evaluate. And yes, I would love to do that.
That was a very long-winded way of saying yes. Okay.
Well, I wouldn't say yes because then I'm bound to do it. So that's why I said.
So what do you do when your wife says to you, please put up some shelves, Max? I want you to put up some shelves by the end of February. What do you say? Do you say yes, or do you kind of come up with some Weasley words that kind of sound like yes, but don't really commit to anything?
I'd rather not say.
Exactly. I knew it. I knew it. I should take lessons from you. It doesn't work with me. Unfortunately, my wife is as everyone who's met her knows that she's an awful lot smarter than I am, and there's just no way. I'm not even just saying that to be, like faux humble. It's just true. I don't mind saying it. So there we go. So that's the scope. All right.
Yes.
And that's what we're going to talk about when we talk about Sage/Breville or ECM or Rocket.
Any sort of machine.
Any sort of machine that we're going to be talking about in the next few weeks. That's the scope. Just come back and listen again to this podcast every single time before you listen to our next podcast, so you get the scope clear in your mind.
Yeah.
And that's what the scope is. That's what we're looking for. And I'm going to buy one in the end. And as soon as I buy it, two things are going to happen. First, the company will come out with a new model that's better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And secondly, I'll just regret it and wish I bought something else. But I'll be stuck with it. But then, so okay.
And you're going to be raving about it for a while. So which is going to be at least 7 podcasts.
7? Are you kidding me? It's going to go on for years.
Maybe 9.
I don't even know what this is. What have I got? Oh, this one's rum.
I'm no expert, but I think it's coffee.
Funny spelling. So I've got. Well, okay. So here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. So I'm talking to this really nice company called Coffee Roots out in the Netherlands. And they're quite a large company, actually, and they sell coffee all over the world to distributors and wholesalers, and they sell here in the UK, and they sell in. So I was having a chat to them more about markets, and really for the website, we're writing some critical analysis. Mm-hmm. What's the plural of analysis? Is it analyses or is it analysis?
Analysis.
Yeah. Okay. So we're writing some critical analysis on coffee in different markets, and I had a very interesting conversation with them, and they were talking about some of the markets they initially had some trouble selling into and how they changed and pivoted. Mm-hmm. And those markets are really huge. They said, well, guess what you think is really big? And I was like, well, is it this, is it that? And it's like, no, it's flavored coffee. I'm like, you're kidding me. I don't even really like flavored coffee. He's like, let me send you something. I just got this giant box. Did you see my Instagram? This giant box.
I've seen it.
I got this I got boxes and boxes and boxes and more boxes of stuff. And then I also got packets within the boxes.
You told them that you don't like it.
Sorry, just throwing stuff around now. This one here, for example, this coffee is rum flavored coffee. I have one. I thought I grabbed it, but I grabbed the wrong one. I thought I had banana. We've got banana flavored coffee.
Banana.
Yes, I'm actually secretly, that's the one I'm really looking forward to. I think you can't. It's a bit like peanut butter. I don't think you can put banana on anything and have it taste bad. I think banana on everything. Tell me something that doesn't go well with banana. I mean, brush my teeth, got minty breath, banana, totally fine. No problems at all. This one here is a mystery. I don't know what it is. It's in a different package. It's in a sort of a brown package, and this is beans as opposed to brown like the other one. It says, I'll tell you what it says. It's a very nice label. It says Katsa. Kantata Katsa. Please someone write it and tell me what the hell that means.
It's a good thing we don't translate in Italian.
Yeah.
So
I got this box here, which I rather like these boxes. They're little small boxes. They look like a box of tea or something, like, oops, that way. And it says raw gill. And these are these are Nespresso capsules, but they're an espresso for the original Nespresso capsules.
Yeah. Okay.
This one here also is the Highlands Gold Ethiopian Speciality Single Origin Nespresso capsule. I've got to buy an espresso machine now. I've got another one. Yeah, shut up. And I've got this Ethiopian Bio Guji Shakiso. Okay, look how pretty that looks. I'm talking about. Also, the box looks pretty too.
Yeah. It's
nice. Kind of like it's a pink box with some pictures of a guy picking coffee berries. Coffee cherries. So I've got lots of these. This one I'm not going to show you. It's kind of secret. That's for later. That's a special one. Very different. Didn't know that existed.
I'm now curious.
Yeah, that's the aim of it. It's called a tease. I'm a big tease. So we're going to be brewing. We're going to be brewing
coffee.
No. We're going to brew some of those things as well. And then we're going to drink them noisily to really annoy everybody who's listening.
Yes. Yes, because it's important to do this
brainwashing process to make my cult.
Yes. The Slurpees are very important.
Slurping is going to be very important.
Yes.
So that's what we've got. We've got that coming up. Let's talk about Breville, buddy. Sage. Sage Breville. Yes. Why is it Sage and Breville? Who is this company? They're an Australian company, right? Do you know about them?
No, I actually do not know.
Oh, okay. Well, do you know what? They're, I should look up their stock price. I did look up their stock price a month or two ago because
they've gone up after we talked about them, obviously.
Naturally, the market is very heavily swayed by whatever I think.
Yes.
But yeah, if that was true, I'd be so rich. I dream about that kind of thing. But no, they're an Australian company and called Breville. They had some deal here in the UK, I think originally to be known or marketed under a different brand, Sage, because Sage does other things. I mean, they do bread makers and
I thought it was actually the same company everywhere else. So is it not?
Nope. Only in the UK is it known, only in the land of hope and glory. I feel like we should break into song in a minute. In the land of hope and glory, now that we're in Brexit and no one likes us, we're on our own. A bit like sort of like when you wave goodbye to someone on a life raft and the life raft is kind of leaking a little bit, but you don't tell them. You're just waving goodbye to them. Good luck. It's going to be a great adventure. Like, great. Thanks very much. I can't wait.
And no.
Is it my imagination or are we thinking? You're doing fine. I actually believe that we will be fine. Everyone cares about what my opinion is on politics. So let me tell you that we're going to be great because we'll have to be is the answer to that. We'll have to either be great or we'll just wither. And I don't like the idea of withering. So I think we'll be great instead. So anyway, in the UK, it's known as Sage.
Yes.
Everywhere else, it's known as Breville. So that's not confusing at all.
No.
In Australia,
not by the slightest.
In Australia, they are the Breville company. I think it's called the Breville Group. And they're a floated business, which means they're on the stock market.
Okay.
And they've got lots and lots of money. As a matter of fact, I have it on good authority that the CEO of Breville wakes up every morning like Scrooge McDuck, and he's got a big, giant, what did he have? A silo of money. So I actually have it on very good authority that he has a silo of money right outside his house, and he jumps in it and swims through his money every day. So they've got a lot of money. They're basically a Australian company that makes a bunch of different stuff, and they market their espresso machines. It's not just espresso machines they make, and they do it around the world. And I think that they're very, very clever in how they do it. It's not for everybody, and some snobs look down on them because they say, "Oh, but it's like an appliance," and that's the main thing. They're like, right, that's the thing that turns off some of the people in the industry, and dare I say, but I wouldn't admit it, me, and probably you. Say it, Max. Me. Come on, let's have a moment of honesty now, right?
I don't like them. I don't think that it's. It's not for me. The product.
I really want to buy one now.
Huh?
Nothing. Tell us why you don't like it.
So it's because I like to do things my own way. So I like to have the variables in control. But I see the point, for example, for a novice, because it makes you make good coffee. They take a lot of the variables away from you, which is fine. They do pre-infusion. They do all of the jazz. It's just that it doesn't do it in a way that you can control, first of all, or at least you can probably control it. But it's I don't know. I think it's probably something similar to between like having an iPhone and having a Mac computer and having a Linux computer. Or espresso machine can be a Linux system, which means that you have access to all of the variables, which means that you have 900 million and 99 possibilities of screwing up, because you can change every single thing. While the other one, you can only be good, because that's only a few things you can actually do. So that's the thing I don't personally like much.
But they have good solutions. On the other hand, I think you have very interesting solutions for example, for a dual boiler. They are very good for latte art, for frothing milk, because they have, for example, what I've seen, quite a few have a thermometer at the end of the steam wand, which is brilliant, which is a great idea, because you don't go over the temperature at which lactose breaks down and it doesn't taste good anymore.
60 degrees.
Yeah, which is absolutely brilliant. If you have to do it by hand, that takes practice, and even a very practiced person can screw up every now and then, because sometimes your steam is hotter, or your machine responds in a different way, or you're just not paying attention. That is, you put down your milk frother, put the steam one in, press go, does it, done. It does it for you. So it makes you feel good. It makes you feel competent, even if you're not. But I don't think it's something for an enthusiast, because you would get bored of it very soon.
That was my fear. But actually, as I look deeper, I don't know that's true. And I'm not saying that it isn't true. I'm just saying that I don't know that it's not true. I actually have some doubts now.
So they have lots of features, and in my opinion as well, is it's a closed system. The same as an iPhone, for example. I have an iPhone. It's very convenient, but I miss the possibility of messing up, of doing things.
So I tell you what I found out in my research. So bear in mind as well that, I mean, we're not presenting ourselves here as experts on every single system.
Absolutely.
Right. So we're on the journey. Remember, we're on the journey.
Yes.
And so I was looking it all up, and I went through, I'm going to start at the bottom of the line for Breville. Sorry, Sage. I mean, Breville. Well, whichever. And
Sage.
and most of our listeners in America. Although apparently, oh God, I meant to look it up. I got an email from some podcast, something channel. I forgot the name of it. Not channel, but something that tells me. I didn't even ask them to. They send me an email once a month, I think, and say where I am or where we are, like the podcast is. And apparently, we're really popular in Brazil. We're like number something. I think it was blew my mind. We're like the number 4th best, most popular podcast in Brazil in the category of, food or something. So
because in Brazil there are four.
Because it's probably only 4. Maybe it's the English-speaking Espresso podcasts in Brazil. We're number 4, and there's only
if you make the group small enough, we are number 1.
You just keep subcategorizing it down until we're number 1.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. So I thought I'd start anyway. I thought I'd start with the lower end. And then just look at the
Bambino, isn't it?
Well, it's very exciting because there's a Bambino and a Bambino Plus, and the Bambino Plus is almost twice the price. I'm like, what do you get for your Plus, mate? In it, what do you get for your Plus? And
why is the price?
It's like, I think one is $2.99 and one's $4.99. Now I know if someone's saying, well, it's not twice the price, Nick, but yeah, okay, but it's still almost-ish twice the price. It's a lot more for something where you're just getting a plus.
Yeah. It's a very expensive Plus.
But this is my point. So this is the point I really wanted to make about Breville. What they do really, really well is they market. They've built these systems. They kind of all look the same. If you take a look, you will notice that all the steam ones look pretty much the same. All the buttons and the knobs
they all probably kind of look the same.
Because they are the same. They reuse the parts, right?
Yeah.
So it makes it really cheap for them to make another machine. It's like a Frankenstein. It's like a bit of Lego. You just say, we'll take a bit of that. Give me 2 of those, and maybe 1 because we're going to keep the price down.
Yeah.
And they just slap it all on.
Totally with you on that. And then
the engineers are want to kill me.
And why are they so flipping expensive?
Because they got to make money. That guy's got to dive into his money pit every morning. Max, what happens if he dives into his money pit and there's not enough money in there? He'll hurt himself. Think of him.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm telling you.
So in my opinion, I don't see the appeal to these machines.
But just bear with me. So the Bambino at that end apparently steams really well, makes a pretty decent cup of espresso. My biggest issue with Breville, looking at it, was a thermoblock and the instability inherently with the thermoblock, because you got to ask yourself the question in it that that if the thermoblock heats up in 3 seconds or 5 seconds or whatever it is, right? It basically instantly. If this thing heats up instantly and you can pull an espresso in 10 seconds, why doesn't everybody do that? Why doesn't La Marzocco do that? Why doesn't everybody just do that?
Because you need the heat to travel. You heat up the thermoblock, but you only heat up what's heated. So you heat up the aluminum bit that has the resistors on. Then you have to heat up the rest. You have to homogenize the heat. So at the beginning, you will have a couple of very hot spots, and then the heat has to distribute and equilibrate. So you have a constant movement of heat until everything is, equilibrated. I do not like, for example, the new Gaggia system that has the European switch, because it only stays on for 10 minutes. 10 minutes are not enough to get
one of those again.
Yeah, it's not enough to be equilibrated.
Yes, your favorite word, isn't it? They've been using that in the management rooms. Equilibrate, that one, isn't it?
Equilibrate. I'm a chemist, for crying out loud. Of course I use equilibrated. You equilibrate everything.
I'm trying to find the setting where I can smooth my wrinkles. That's apparently a feature on Zoom. Okay, forget it. Let's go back to the machines. So they've got
how is that a priority?
Well, you were talking and I thought that no one will notice.
In a podcast. By the way, everyone that's listening to us, Nick is extremely wrinkly today.
No, I'm not, because I've been using this new face cream. I don't know if you noticed.
Not true.
There's a glow. There's a glow on me. I'm not sweating. It's a glow. It's a healthy glow.
I'm all glowing.
So, but please don't. Keep your clothes on, Max. It's not that kind of podcast. So they've got these. The lower end, they've got these things. The thermoblock was my issue. It's thermal stability. Now that becomes addressed later on. That's exciting. So that was kind of a new thing for me to understand that, to learn that. But you move up. So then I think after that Bambino, you've got Bambino Plus, which is so much more expensive. And basically, I think it has some temperature settings on it, which is part of the reason why it's more expensive.
Does it have, when do they start having pre-infusion? Because that's one of the big things of the Breville machines.
Well, they do have pre-infusion. And I was going to ask you about that, but I think it starts on the Barista Express. Don't hold me to that, but I know the Barista Express has that and all the models up from that habit. And I think, so going back to what you said about what you don't like about it is it's kind of like you don't have the same level of manual control. What Breville / Sage or Breville does is they give you a limit. They actually give you an awful lot of functionality, but they give it to you in a package whereby you have to choose it's 1, 2, or 3. So, you can do things like on a relatively cheap machine, you can set your temperature. Well, no, you can change the temperature, but you might only be able to change it from settings 1, 2, or 3. You can't set it to a temperature. Or you can change the grind settings on the Barista Express, for example, on the built-in grinder, and you're like, wow, for the cost of that machine, I'm getting a grinder and an espresso machine with pre-infusion, and I can set the temperature. I mean, it sounds amazing, except for the fact that you can only set the grinder certain, I think I'm going to say 13 steps, something like 13 steps.
Exactly. So they don't
very limited
the opportunity to mess up. That's my point.
They don't give you the fidelity is the word I think that you're looking for, Max. The fidelity.
Sure about that.
Yes, it is. I'm sure about it. It's the fidelity, meaning like the fine control, right? Yeah. Is that what you're trying to say?
Not sure.
No?
Because the fine control, you actually have. I mean, you have 13 steps that allegedly, I would think at least, that someone has already gone through the trouble of
for espresso.
Precisely my point.
Aha.
What if I want to make a pour over? Do I have to get another grinder?
You have to buy their next machine.
What if I want to try strange things? Like, for example, I don't know, grind extremely coarse and brew extremely slowly.
Yeah, so that's the point. So they do limit you, but I think again for most people that's not a problem, right? For most people that's not a problem. So you've got temperature settings, and you can click a button 1, 2, or 3, and you've got your grind settings where you can set it between a limited number, and for most people that's going to be absolutely fine. And the fact that the temperature varies. Now we're talking about the Barista Express, right? So temperature varies because it's a thermoblock system. So you're not going to necessarily get the very best, like if you've got a particular light roast or not even light roast, it doesn't really matter. From time to time, from shot to shot, there's going to be a certain amount of variance. And so if you've got a particular shot or a particular bean that you want to set up a brew recipe where it's consistent from time to time because you've just perfected it, this isn't really the machine for you. You can't do that on there. But for most people who actually just, like my son's got a Barista Express. Yes, he has. He's got a Barista Express. For him, like he gets coffees down the supermarket, he puts them in, he makes this little cappuccino with it's fine. It's absolutely fine. But it's not for me, obviously, because I spec'd out what I want. I want to make the best espresso possible, and I want to be able, and I know that in order to do that, I need great thermal stability, and I need to have I do need to have pre-infusion and possibly flow control. So that doesn't do that. So kind of the Barista Express is out. The next one up is the Pro. And the Pro, interestingly enough, so the Pro takes those features and I think makes them, I can't remember actually. I was actually more interested in looking at the dual boiler one. I think the Barista
more sense.
Yeah. Well, it kind of does. So I think the Pro has some more. Actually, I don't know. I'm going to say it because I actually can't remember. Can't remember what the Pro's got in it. But I'm going to jump up to the dual boiler because that actually, when I looked at it, was the closest. And I'll tell you why. My cat's come in. Can you hear the meowing?
No.
Quiet, puss. Oh, because she wants to jump up and get petted. Come on then, baby. Sorry. She doesn't know that this is a professional moment for me. She doesn't want to be petted. She wants to be fed. She's out of luck. So, so the dual boiler, however, was really interesting to me. This is the one that made me go, oh, because actually, I don't want a dual boiler. Clearly, I've just said I don't want a dual boiler.
Well, no, wait. It's not that you don't want a dual boiler. You don't have a use for the second boiler.
Aha!
Story.
That is a very smart thing to say. That is exactly the conclusion I didn't know I was going to reach myself until I reached it. So you're one step ahead of me, Max. As always.
What I do.
That's what you do. That's who you are, Max.
Yeah.
So the dual boiler, the thing about that is, and this was, I'm going to get straight to the juicy bit, is that they have a PID on the PID. They have a PID on the boiler. First of all, they've got obviously 2 boilers, so you can control the whole thing. So you would hope, and actually the way they control those 2 boilers is kind of interesting. But I come back to, because the juicy bit is that they basically have temperature control on the head. So they electrically heat the brew head to make it very stable. And I've heard, not from good sources, just from what I've read on the internet, so take that for what you will, but I've read that it has got a reputation for having incredibly accurate thermal stability, and this will be something I'll be looking into. So
I mean, before you go anywhere, the Gadget TD from the 90s had the same thing.
Yeah. So
it's not that like they invented something.
I'm not saying that they're the smartest people in the world, but I'm going to tell you, for doing this, I'm sure that someone else thought of it. What I'm going to say is this. It is a machine that actually, the dual boiler, I actually like the look of better than the other things, because it's got that kind of 1950s look to it. It's a little bit more classy. It's a little bit less plasticky, a little bit more classy. It does not have a built-in grinder, which is good for me because I'm damn well going to be using my own grinder, not the one that Breville gives me. And I do not like having a built-in grinder.
Although they just recently acquired Barazza.
They did. That's well done for remembering that. Gold star for you. Go to the top of the class.
So probably they will have actually very competent grinders. And I mean, by all means, they don't have bad grinders at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, they're already set.
Yeah, they are.
Why do you want to make my life easier?
Yeah, it will be very interesting to see what they do. But I mean, Barazza also had, quality control issues as well, generally. But they are good. They are known as very good grinders.
Mm-hmm.
So I still want my own grinder. I don't want the thing built in, and for many reasons. One, having that on the top of the machine reduces the surface area on the top that I can do stuff and put things. Mm-hmm. It makes it, if you take a look at the dual boiler, it means you can open up the top of it, so you can top load the water mm-hmm. in there, which I really like. It's got lots of lovely features in there, like if you take off the drip tray, there's a storage unit underneath and a button that you push, comme ça, where the thing kind of lifts up and it goes on coasters and you can roll it around, which is very cool if you want to clean behind the machine, which I never do except once in a while. And then I, freak out what I see behind there. So it takes up less space, fits under the counter, fits under your kitchen cabinets. If you want to roll it out to put water in, it's a push of a button, pull it out, put some water in, push it back in. There's a lot of nice features in there. But here's the other thing that I really quite like about the dual boiler compared to some of the early ones, like the Pro or the Express, is there is a screen on there, an LED screen that gives you fine control over pre-infusion, over temperature settings, over that sort of thing, rather than just trying to get out the manual, try to remember, okay, push this button, hold that button down, twiddle that knob, then that sets the temperature. You don't do any of that. You can do it all on an LED screen.
Yeah.
So,
but that again to me is a feature more than an actual functionality.
Okay. By the way, I haven't got to the coup de grace yet.
Sorry, go ahead.
Coup de grace, you can pick them up secondhand easily for like $800, 800 quid.
Yes.
Now, a similar spec machine, if I was going to go and get myself what I really want, which is an ECM Synchronica or something like that, it's going to be almost 3 times the price.
New.
Yeah. Well, okay. So secondhand. So new, I can get one of these ones for about 900 quid. So it's still going to be double the price.
Yes. But for example, I've seen a secondhand. I have it.
Mm-hmm. Are you having a stroke, Max? No. What's that face?
I forgot.
Is that the face you make when you forgot?
Vivaldi.
When you make a big point to say, like, listen to me, I've got something important to say, and then you forget?
Alla Spaziale.
Oh, yeah.
La Spaziale Mini Vivaldi with a rotary pump, a PID, £400.
What? Where? What?
eBay.
Oh, in eBay.
I have seen it. So they do exist, and you can get them.
Wait. It's a PID. It's a PID on the boiler, but how much? That doesn't mean to say what the temperature is going to be when it comes out the group. Was it an E61?
It's actually a PID on the group head.
A PID on the group head.
Yes, sir.
Oh, this is why this is going to be such an interesting journey.
So, I mean, it does the same thing, but it's so much better because it keeps the art of it. What puts me off Sage, to be honest, Sage machines, is the users. And I'm sorry to say it, but it's the users. Mm-hmm. It's a perfect machine for Instagram because you can not having a clue what you're doing, you're making espresso, and then you auto froth your cappuccino with microfoam that is going to be accessible to anyone literally without having to practice, without needing any sort of skill. And then what you can practice on is to pour your silly latte art on the thing, and then go on Instagram and say, "Look, I'm a barista." No, you're not.
You're a milk pourer.
You're a milk pourer.
You sound. You know what? Back in the day, Max, I'm going to say 2000-ish. I had a Leica M3 camera, and I would go and pick up a nice roll of Kodachrome or Ilford 35mm film with my, X number of shots that I've got, and then would go out and I would take pictures, and I would have my pockets full of rolls of film, and be very careful about the composition that I was doing. Spent several minutes looking at the right angle because I only had a certain number of frames I could shoot. And then, of course, digital cameras came around, and people would stand next to me and they'd just go click, 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 and I'd be there trying to get the right composition and everything. I'd click, 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 and I hated them. And but now I'm one of them. So I mean, time goes by.
Does it make it better? I mean,
well, so now, very interestingly, because I was watching just last night, or possibly yesterday. I'm saying last night for good effect. It might have been a couple of days ago. This YouTube video of this guy who does reviews on Fuji cameras, which I rather like. They're mirrorless cameras. In fact, I got one right here. This is an example of the kind of things. So this is but you can see, even though this is a digital camera, doesn't it look like an old school, if I get the right angle, doesn't it look like an old school?
Has to.
Type Leica almost, right?
Yeah.
And
like the modern Nikons or Canons, they look like old ones. They don't need to.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But oh God, I've just done a max and I've completely forgotten what my point was. I was going to say. Yeah, damn it. Oh no. So this guy, I was watching this video, and this guy came on, and they've got Fuji have got this new camera out where they've made it a pain in the ass for you to look and see what the picture you've just taken. You have to stop the camera, open it up, turn this thing around. You can see what you've just taken a picture of, but they've made it difficult enough that generally you don't bother. And he thought, and there's quite an expensive camera as well.
Yeah.
And he thought, well, for a long time he didn't review it, but then he decided just to review it, but he thought, I'm not going to like this. And he said it completely took him back to the time when he valued every shot, and he spent more time thinking about the light, thinking about the composition, the angle, and all that kind of stuff. And he said he brought back so much joy to the art of photography.
Exactly. Precisely my point. And with Sage, you feel good because you're doing something to the machine, but the difference between that and an Espresso, very minimal to me, because you can't go wrong. So when it's too easy to do something, to venture into something when you can't fail.
I think you can always go wrong, Max. You obviously don't know me very well.
But I mean, when all the parameters are laid out for you, and okay, you can optimize these, but we already set up your boundaries within the optimal range.
Yeah. So listen. So we're going to wrap this up because I promised you it was going to be short.
Yes, short and sweet.
Short and sweet. Just like you, Max. Short and okay, maybe just the short bit.
What do you mean?
So there's actually one more in the lineup, or two more. Like I think it's called the Oracle Touch. But we're not going to talk about those because that goes way into the push-up picture.
Yeah, I mean those are fully automatic, or
it's a fully automatic-ish.
Fully automatic.
Yeah, exactly. So we're not going to talk about those, but like it or not, because of the price and the features and the functionality, I am putting the Breville dual boiler on the list of ones to consider. Mostly, I have to say, because it's cheap compared to
what is it, 1,800?
No, I tell you, I picked one up for £900.
Second hand, new.
Yeah,
dual boiler, 900.
Dual boiler, £900.
Okay.
Yeah, they're
color me impressed.
Yeah, it's a lot of machine for that money.
That is true, and it's dual boiler, which is very sensible. I mean, apart from me not liking them, and that's personal. I mean, I just don't like them. Yeah. But it's actually a very sensible solution because you have the dual boiler, so you have steam and brewing separated, and not because you want to do them at the same time, because let's be honest, it doesn't really make a difference, but you don't have to wait for it to heat up and cool down.
Yeah. And interestingly, I watched a very old film when they just came out with it and they just launched it that Breville did themselves, and they explained how the boiler system works. Kind of interesting.
Okay.
Because it comes through I think you can plug it into the mains. I have to go and check that.
Yeah, of course.
Oh no,
wait, mains what? Mains water?
Mains water, yeah, I think so. I'm not entirely sure of that, but it comes through. Oh no, sorry. No, it doesn't. It comes through a tank. So it comes from the tank. It comes through quite high pressure. So it goes through a pump, where it pumps it up to something like 15 bar, something like that. Then it goes through the steam boiler. I'm like, what? That's crazy, fool. But it goes through the steam boiler, presumably because that heats it up gets it to a certain temperature already, right? Yeah. Then from there, it goes, I think, through the OPV, which drops the pressure back down to 9 bar. Okay. And then it goes through the brew boiler, and then it hits the group head, which then regulates the temperature. So it takes it through a couple of steps. I'm guessing there's a bit of heat exchange in the design in order to speed up the heating process and to make it more efficient.
Yes, most dual boilers actually they're not what you would expect. Like two boilers that are separated from each other. You preheat the water with a heat exchanger that goes through the steam boiler, but they're separated. Yeah. So the heat exchanger, you have the water goes through the boiler, the steam boiler, and then goes through the group head that's hot, and that goes down. The group head of a heat exchanger is heated through a thermosiphon that takes the hot water and the heat from the steam boiler. A dual boiler has an independently heated boiler that doesn't take the heat from the steam boiler, so they're independent. You can heat them up separately, and that's why you have the second heater and it's better, at least in my opinion, it's better to have them independent. But the water is preheated, because otherwise you wouldn't have enough time for the water to warm up to the right temperature when it comes in cold.
Yeah, so I think that's exactly what it is. That sounded like what it was in a way.
Yeah, you still have a bit of a heat exchanger,
right?
The steam boiler, because you have to preheat the water, because otherwise, if you heat your group head at 94, but you pour cold water in, it's not going to be 94, unless you have enough residence time to heat up the water to 94. But it takes time to do that.
Right. So that's how it works anyway. So it's going to go on the list. Feel free to send in your votes as to what you think I should do, what I should buy. I'll probably ignore everybody, but
it's voting buttons down here. They're up there on this side.
All those people in Brazil who love us.
Yeah. Absolutely. On this side, there are voting buttons, and or on that side.
Oh, I'm going to get some of those things.
What, voting buttons?
I don't know. There's everyone else on YouTube has fancy things. They sort of say up there.
Yeah,
I don't know what to put up. I'll put something up there if somebody wants something up there. What should I put up there?
A bag of buttons here. Yeah.
I put up what I really want is a button and a bucket of cold water drops on your head. Like we can push the button. Someone just hits the button. Yes. And why did you do it? Why
did you do it?
Why did you do it? That would be fantastic. Then we'd make millions of views and get rich.
Yes.
So next week, how about what do you want to choose? I've got an idea. Let me float it by you, but I'll let you choose. Leylit.
Difficult.
Or ECM. You choose.
Ooh. Leylit.
Okay. All right. Excellent. I'm glad you said that, because I really wanted to do Leylit next week.
Yeah.
Looking through this. So they're actually very interesting band. They're doing some kind of interesting things as well. And I'd be interested in your point of view, because there are some, and I'll send you my thoughts like this week on it, because on some of the particular technologies that they claim that they do, because they claim a few different interesting things that I hadn't really seen in some other places. So I'm going to send you that, and we can check it out and talk about that next week.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Thank you, sir. Listen, don't get any shorter next week because otherwise you'll just see the top of your head.
Yeah. It's gonna disappear slowly.
Stand tall, my friend.
I know. It's just that I had a very hot shower. I probably shrunk a little.
See you next week, Max.
See you.